So, how can we translate culture-bound words? If you have this question, if you're asking this question, this video is for you. I'm Lola Jalilova, and I'm going to teach you how to translate English proverbs and sayings into Uzbek and Russian. However, you can use these strategies to translate from any language to your native one. Let's start. So an actual problem with proverbs and saying is that is a part of every language, and these are the part of nation's culture as well. Proverbs and sayings, they are easy to understand. However, there are some of them that are very complicated to understand. So difficulties in translation can be as in reading and in writing and in communication as well. So the aim of today's session is to investigate the problems in translation of proverbs and sayings, and that comprise several tasks. So we're going to examine some examples. I'm going to focus on examples which are very often used in English language. We compare them to Russian and Uzbek proverbs. Later we'll examine some methods of translation and discover challenges that are connected with translation of proverbs. So, proverbs and sayings. So they are used to, there's a sayings of wisdom, and usually we use them when we want to tell what people should do or to warn them what not to do. Usually they are short and they are well known. They have fixed form, however not often. They can be metaphorical, and of course they're easy to remember. As proverbs usually, they have rhyme. And sayings in that case can be the part of proverb. So they express the truth, the wisdom, morals, and the traditional views. There are several methods of translation of proverbs, and today we'll focus on some of them. We'll start with complete equivalence, then relative equivalence or analogs. Later we'll discuss descriptive translation, then contextual replacement, and literal translation. So let's start with the first proverb, that is, there is no smoke without fire. It means that when people are saying that someone has done something wrong, there is usually reason for saying so. So if you translate it into Russian, so as we see, нет дыма без огня, and we see that is complete equivalent due to the identical image. We have a smoke and dым, and we have the same meaning. So there is a reason for everything. If to translate it into Uzbek, also student bölmaydı. So and you see that it's also complete equivalent, as the image and the meaning is identical. As we see complete equivalence, they usually can be the borrowings from Latin, Greek, and French and other languages, and that's why they're easily understood, and usually they have equivalence, and that's why we shouldn't translate them. So as an example of borrowing, we have here better late than never, that is лучше поздно, чем никогда into Russian, and that is a very popular phrase in Uzbek language as well, hechtan kura kech. The next type can be that proverbs that are originated from Bible. Here we bring the example, man doesn't live by bread alone, не хлебом единым жив человек. As you see, that is complete equivalent as well. And the next type are quotations from Shakespeare. For instance, all that glitters is not gold, не все золото, что блестит. However, if we pay attention to the Uzbek equivalent, we see that use yaltırok, kaltırok, and we see that they can form complete equivalence. The next type of translation is relative equivalence. So here we bring the example of the proverb to kill two birds with one stone. This proverb means that when we achieve some kind of success doing only one action. So you see that the meaning with the equivalents in Russian and Uzbek language, they are similar. That is, in Russian один выстрелом убил двух зайцев, and in Uzbek plan и такой берешь. However, we see here lexical differences. So here the bird is replaced by the other animal, by the hare. So that is the example of relative equivalence. Now we come to analogs. As you see, the examples shows that we have different images, however, it has the same meaning. So the proverb no bees, no honey, no work, no money, that has an equivalent in Russian language. That means кто не работает, тот не ест. So that proverb reminds us the hard work and the productivity that is appreciated in our life. So the meaning is you will have nothing if you do nothing, and as you see that the images are different, however the meaning is similar. And in Uzbek version, so while searching for the analog, we can come up with one of them, ishlamagan, ishlamaydi. The next one is descriptive translation. So descriptive translation is used when we do not have an equivalent or analogs in the target language. So here is an example of the proverb, a watched pot never boils. So it means that time passes very slowly if the person is waiting only for one thing to happen and is not thinking about the other things. So as you see, here we have an image, the pot, and we have to explain it. So the explanation in Russian version, so it sounds like кто начальником стоит, у того не кипит. So that is descriptive translation example. The next one is literal translation. Here we bring the example of the proverb, we soon believe what we desire. As we see, we translate here every word. Мы охотно верим в то, чего желаем. So we see here not identical image and not explanation is used, however we translate every word. The next one. So as you see, while comprehending the methods of translation according to the taxonomy, we see that the most difficult and the easiest in that case are different. So the easiest, they start with a complete equivalence and literal translation, later relative equivalence, and the most difficult, the analogs, descriptive translation, and contextual replacement. Now let's pay attention to several types of proverbs. So you see that proverbs can be ethno-specific. So one example is to carry coals to Newcastle, that is about the city where the coal is manufacturing. So in that case, if we implement different types of translation, so we can see that in Russian language, возить дрова Newcastle, and here we have to pay attention that that is the center of coal industry. Later, if it is descriptive translation, we can have a completely different version, that is делать что-то бессмысленное или ненужное. And if it is analog, so as we see in Russian language, we have an analog to this proverb, that is в лес дрова возить. So here we replace coal with wood. The next type is metaphorical proverb. So you see here the example of metaphorical proverb that says «Краше синица в руках, чем журавль в небе». And here we have several analogs of it. A bird in hand is worth two in bush. That means that better to appreciate what you have currently, but not thinking about the chance, not appreciating the chance of having something. So as you see, several examples says that a feather in hand is better than a bird in the air. that is almost similar to the a gift in hand is better than two promises. The next says, better an egg today than a hen tomorrow. And a sparrow in hand is better than the pigeon in the sky. So as you see that all of them, they are identical in meaning, and some of them, they have only different images. The next slide says that there are relative equivalents. As you see, we brought an example of English and Russian ones, and we can see here relative equivalents or analogs. A bird may be known by its flight. So you see the Russian version said that птица видна по полету. So, and the other examples, they are also analog as to the key point, to the key one in English and in Russian one. So our diagram says that in English and as well in Russian, so there can be some proverbs that can have a long list of analogs, and if to pay attention to some of them, for instance, no song, no supper, or no beast, no honey, no work, no money that we discussed previously. So all of them, they have also more than 5 equivalent analogs in Russian language. For instance, хочешь есть калачи, не лежи на печи, or чтобы рыбу съесть, надо воду лезть. And if to pay attention to this type of expressions, sayings and proverbs, probably you can make a long list of them. The next. So, as a conclusion, we can say that there are, according to the types of translation, some of them that are easy to translate. For instance, proverbs which have no metaphors, or international proverbs, borrowings from other languages, from the Bible, as they are complete equivalents, and they're usually very well known. The types of proverbs that are difficult to translate, that are synonymous proverbs, that are metaphorical proverbs, and not specific proverbs. So as a result, we can say that the proverbs can be found everywhere. We can find them in translation of fiction texts. We can find them in translating some articles in newspapers. And of course, so as a result, we can say that we have to do further investigations and probably find the other challenges and as well as solutions to tackle that problems in translating proverbs. As I have started my session with one proverb, I do hope that you paid attention to the work is done, time for fun. And if you look through the analogs, or probably you thought about the complete equivalent that exists in your native language. And I can now bring some examples of its translation in Uzbek and Russian. So the Russian version said that dela gulya smela, so as you see here it can be a complete equivalent of the proverb. However, in Uzbek language, that is the descriptive translation, so that is the explanation. The meaning is similar, however the images are different. So hopefully that presentation, that information was useful for you, and I do hope that next time we'll discuss the translation of other culture-bound words that are included into the syllabus for the students of the third course on the specialty of the theory and practice of translation. Thank you for watching.